It's July 1st, 2022. In this pattern, we went to, uh, my father wanted to do this fish tank and first live animal purchase with my son. Um, they had bought turtles earlier, but that was for my father, that wasn't for my son. Um, so they went for fish. Now we went to Dan's place, which is a far drive from where we are. And yesterday, while we were there, we were admiring the tanks. I mean, like, it was like going to an aquarium. Plus, we had Dan there. So, I mean, it was a busy store. There was a lot going on. Um, but the Fantail Guppies there were beautiful. They were different colors. I mean, they were just absolutely gorgeous in freshwater fish for this level of story and chore or adventure. But we couldn't purchase the fish there that day because the tank has to run 24 hours to get the water filtered. So we left with just the tank and the basic parts. We put it together. Um, and so today, that was June 30th. Today's July 1st. So today's the day we're going to get the fish. We're getting plants and fish. Super excited. Lewis plans out the route. We're not going to a big conglomerate store, a big corporate store. First, we're going to check out the local guys, the little guys. So he finds some USA fish store in someplace, like dirty part of Queens. Um, and so we go into this dirty part of Queens and we go looking for fish. And when you walk in the store is beautiful. I mean, the tanks are such a presentation. It really looks like an aquarium and it's quiet like a mausoleum. It's quiet like a museum, like an aquarium. And we're looking at the magnificence of the colors, the different types of fish. They're nicely labeled. I mean, like, really, really well kept store. Um, and but we get to the fantail guppies and they only have orange and black, and I'm like, ugh, no. Mm-mm. We like Dan's fish. Dan has really pretty colored tailed fish. I don't like the orange and black. They're ugly. Personal preference. So we decide not to get the guppies at this particular store. We'll try a different store. We'll go to one of the big retailers, one of the anchor stores in the commercial real estate market of open retail mall space or commercial strips or whatever. Um, so And while we're there in the quiet store with not a lot of commotion, but really well kept aquatic space, we are looking and they have, now I had what they used to call Tetra um, at one point. I mean, I called them tiger barbs, but now they have something called a Tetra they've named. But now they have a Tetra that glows, and they call them glow something or other, um, some kind of glowfish. But they look like they've been injected with something, even though it says on the tank has not been harmed or whatever. I mean, again, I'm not a marine biologist. However, this doesn't look like freshwater fish. Looks like something's up. So whatever. I don't say anything. I'm just observing, and I'm like, okay. Um, and we're just gonna skip on that one. So he got whatever he got at that store, which was not Fantail Guppies, but he got plants and whatever they're called and whatever words they are. We left. We drive over to Petco. In a nicer side of Queens because Lewis took the back roads through Douglaston, which I had not been through. And there is some beauty still left in Douglaston, although there's a lot of, you know, there's in Douglaston, there seems to be this like rehabilitation going of these houses. It does not look like the type of houses, if I could say. I mean, Joe the other night, who was a teacher, uh, he has pigeons and a koi pond and whatever. Um, he was a teacher, a New York City teacher who was able to afford a house in Queens on a teacher's salary with his wife being whatever she was. Um, and they used to have a saying, he said, that the people that had one type of eyeglass plan lived one way and the others lived a different way. Again, something he mentioned I had never heard of before, but then again, I don't really know any teachers or professors. So that was that. But as we were going through Douglaston and we go past this one house, I'm like, Lewis, I really don't think that that person's a New York City teacher. I really don't think he's investing in the children and their future, honestly. Something looks like it's wrong. He doesn't look like he fits in the neighborhood. That one house. Whatever. So we make our way over to Petco. Um and we go inside. Now, the pet store smells really good. Has really weird sounds in the over speaker. It's busy. Has a good selection of stuff on like inside the tank kind of a thing. But when we get to the fish, they have no selection of fish. In fact, their Fantail Guppies are like this big and it looks like there's no beauty in their fish. There's no fantails. It's just whatever the other ones are. So that's a problem. So, and they won't turn the lights on because they said that the fish are getting too hot. I'm like, well, how are you supposed to see the fish? I mean, you just turn the fantail to one tank on for just 2 seconds. I mean, like, customer service does not seem to be a New York thing, honestly. So anyway, then we go over. Lewis speaks to somebody else in the store. And they said that their distributor, they didn't have a name. I asked for a name. They didn't have one. Said that they're just whatever. But I noticed they were pushing this Tetra in glowfish for some reason. And I'm like, what is that about? Like, because it just doesn't sit right with me. The fish don't look natural. And I'm like, it's like a new fad, FAD, or a new trend, TREND, which I'm like, something's wrong. So I said to the woman, I'm like, now I'm just curious, because like I had Fantail Guppies, and they looked like Fantail Guppies when I was little. Lewis is complaining about the size of the guppies. Like the guppies used to be really big, now they're really small. I hadn't picked up on that anomaly. But she said they're really just not, the distributors really just not delivering on Fantail Guppies. And I was like, but I did notice this Tetra thing. I was like, that wasn't around when I was a kid. She's like, no, it's like the last 7 or 8 years. There's been like a big push for these Tetra fish, Tetra, with some kind of injected colorful dye. They look neon almost, NEON. Again, in marine biology things and keeping the people, the food, the water, the acclimate healthy, and who's keeping an eye on whose stuff. I didn't find out the name of the distributor, but Petco, PETCO, in this particular part of Queens is the one that doesn't even have fantails on their guppies. So now Lewis is too tired to go. So we wound up getting catfish. Newt is satisfied with that at the moment until we can return to the longer distance back to my son, who had the nicest selection of Fantail Guppies in the correct color scheme. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.